Tyler, how did he look?
Tyler was good. I think that it was. I think he wanted his curveball wasn't as sharp as it has been, but just in total, got him to 75 pitches, got him into the fifth inning. So positive outing, and he's exactly where he needs to be.
How impressed have you been by him just this spring? It seems like he's been the steadiest kind of presence you've had.
He has, and that's all the credit goes to him. He has been a steady presence, and he's very focused, and the growth again. I've talked about it a lot about how much he's grown for me, and it's translating to the mound. And so for me, I'm really excited about what he's going to do for us this year. And obviously, there's a lot of talk about our other arms, but as far as talent, he's up there with all those guys.
What have you been seeing from Blake as far as today and just recently his command?
I don't see confidence. Obviously, there's the execution. Is not there. So, yeah, with the sinker, the sweeper is a ball, and so it's been a few 3 or 4 outings consistently. Not throwing the baseball the weight we expect. But I'll talk to him tomorrow and see where his head's at. But for me, off the top, I see it. There's no conviction. I see a lack of confidence.
You mentioned confidence. Is it sort of like some of the stuff he's slipping into that he had at the end of last year, where like you kind of mentioned like he wasn't quite as convicted with where stuff was going and stuff like that?
Possibly. It's just he's done so much for us, and he's pitched in such big ball games, and he's been so dependable. But certainly right now he's going through it, and it's just we got to find a way to kind of right it before we get into the season. He's only going to have, I think, a couple more outings before the season starts. So, hopefully these next couple, he can turn it around.
Do you think there's any physical issue?
I don't think so. I think that, I haven't dug into the delivery, but I see just, I just don't see him just with clarity right now.
Why would a guy with his track record and history have a lack of confidence?
I don't know, and again, that's something that I see, but he could have a different answer. But the misses that we're seeing from him are truly uncharacteristic, especially at this point in the season, of the spring.
Is it something where you have to think about, like, his roster spot going into the year?
No, we're definitely not there yet. I think right now, my head, it's forefront of my head as far as how can we get him back. And I know Mark feels the same way, so we just got to kind of figure out, collect our thoughts and get him back on track.
Did you get a chance to talk to Shohei about the plan going forward?
I did. I did. I think he's going to play. He's going to hit in the game on Friday, and so I'm not sure which game he's pitching, and Mark knows that one. Right now, I just can't piece it all together right now, put it all together. But we did talk, and I felt good when we talked about his plan as far as when he's going to pitch. But Mark knows that.
Yoshi arrived during the game. Are you going to break the news to him?
He already knows. I already broke the news to him. All right, thanks, guys.
On today's show, the Dodgers just signed a historic stadium sponsorship deal without changing the name of the stadium. Team USA survives a wild, controversial semifinal with Will Smith front and center. But first, Travis, in the biggest shocker of the knockout round, Japan is out of the WBC in the quarterfinals, sending Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto back to the Dodgers camp.
Yeah, maybe not the final that we were maybe looking forward to, but we get our guys back at camp. We'll get into all of it on this edition of Locked On Dodgers, and it's brought to you by MLB The Show 26. Visit MLB.show/locked on and use the code locked on to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. Pre-order now, available tomorrow, March 17th on PlayStation 5, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch, and it is rated E for everyone.
Weekdays, Travis sets the tone on 710 ESPN LA from 3 to 6 on the Travis and DeMarco Show. Meanwhile, when I'm not on the call for USC football in Spanish, this is my home base talking Dodgers baseball with you every weekday. New here? Welcome. Everydayers, you already know you're the heartbeat of our show. It's easy to help us out. Subscribe and like our content on YouTube. Drop a 5-star rating on Apple or Spotify, and hit up the Locked On Dodgers listener line, 2793-LOCKED. That's 279-356-2533. Leave us a voicemail or a text anytime, any day. Japan stunned. Ohtani and Yamamoto are back at Dodgers camp. If you asked most people before the tournament who the favorite was to win the WBC, the answer probably started with the defending champs, Japan. But on Saturday night in Miami, that run came to a shocking end. Venezuela knocked out Team Samurai by beating them 8-5 in the quarterfinals, marking the first time in the tournament's history that Japan failed to reach the semifinals. That right there, Travis, is a huge deal.
Yeah, it was a big upset. I think it goes to show you just how many good players there are across the rest of the world. The Japanese obviously have an incredible team. They've got about as much star power as anybody else, with guys like Yamamoto and Shohei Ohtani. But this is what makes baseball so much fun. Who knows, right? You have no idea what's going to happen. And not to stretch it too far, but this is, I think, why even with the Dodgers having the roster that they have, even though the Dodgers have a star player virtually at every single position, nothing is guaranteed. Certainly in a short series, and certainly not in a one game winner take all situation. Venezuela has a lot of good players. Maybe not their best guys. Some of the guys like Jose Altuve not there because they weren't able to get insured, but this is what makes this tournament fun, especially when you get into that knockout run where one mistake, one bad pitch, one big swing, and you're going home, and the Japanese are going home. I wanted USA, Japan in the final, but I guess we'll have to deal with USA and Venezuela or Italy.
Exactly. And Japan, they had been one of the most consistent teams the tournament has ever seen, because they won the inaugural one in 2006. They won it again in 2009, and then they captured another title in the last edition in 2023. And even in the years that they didn't win it, they always made deep runs, and even players that you probably didn't know a couple of years later or a year later, or maybe even that year, they would make it to the major leagues after being displayed with Team Samurai in this type of scenario. And now the game made it something that, okay, you see that they all are vulnerable, that you have any given day, anybody can win. That's baseball. We always say it here on Locked On Dodgers. Our everydayers know it. Baseball's gonna baseball. We were all just ready, living our chocolate, being like, okay, man, it's gonna be US versus Japan, because that's something that the WBC did this tournament. You didn't have set brackets where this team, the winner of this pool, is gonna place the winner of this pool this in this set way. They fixed the bracket for Team USA on one side, Japan on the other, hoping that the final would once again be US Japan, and now it's US versus Italy or Venezuela. But we got to see Shohei Ohtani once again deliver a big home run leading off the bottom of the first for Team Samurai, being down 1-0 after you had Ronald Acuna leading off the game with a home run for Venezuela against Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And it was a tight game when Yoshi was out there, but once Yoshi left, the bullpen just failed Team Samurai, and that's how we are at this place right now. But overall, Travis, I would say the two Dodgers in Team Japan did a good job in the tournament.
Yeah, Ohtani was extraordinary. Not just good. He was Ohtani. Even though he came up, made the last out there, it was still, down 3 runs. And if there was ever a way for somebody to hit a 3-run homer with nobody on base, I thought Shohei might figure out a way to do it. But he was terrific. Yamamoto was really, really good. Giving up a home run to Ronald Acuna. Okay. He's one of the best players in the league, one of the best players in the world. So certainly no shame there. Both Ohtani and Yamamoto looked sharp. They looked ready to go. Opening day, like we've been counting down for the last several months, is finally just around the corner. And two of the Dodgers' most important players, and certainly their most important player in Shohei Ohtani, look like they're, mid-season ready. It's certainly Ohtani in the batter's box. We'll see how he looks in the mound. We talked about it last week. Our everydayers got to hear it about how sharp he did look on the mound when he was getting ready, throwing incredibly hard, looking very, very good. So, I guess the best case scenario, even though we don't get exactly maybe the final that some of us were looking for, both of the Dodger players on Team Samurai come back healthy, sharp, and ready to go, which is the best case scenario.
Yeah, and that right there is the big picture Dodger angle that we're focusing on being Locked On Dodgers, is that this means that the Dodgers are getting their stars back early and healthy. We were thinking that they were probably going to arrive until Friday or Thursday, and here they are, kicking off the week wearing Dodger blue, nearly a week and a half, 10 days before opening day. So that's going to be a positive for them. And heck, it's not only them, Travis, because Team Puerto Rico, they got the boot as well. That means Edwin Diaz is also heading back to camp. South Korea, they knocked out. That means Hae-Sang Kim is back at Dodgers camp as well. So suddenly Dave Roberts gets most of his international stars back just in time for this final stretch of spring. I would be shocked if we start seeing them soon in this final week of training camp in game action. But the backfields, they're going to be busy out there as well. But I mean, for Ohtani and Yamamoto, that's a difficult stretch of a long trip all the way from Japan to Miami, and then from Miami to Arizona. You don't want them out there on the field. You know what they have. You know that they're ready. I would expect Ohtani to have maybe one more simulated game with the Dodgers up on the mound. But after that, it's like, hey, man, just bring on opening day in next week.
I think that with all of the Dodger players, maybe with the exception of Kim, everybody that's coming back from their respective national teams will be given the same, option, which is, what do you want to do? How do you want to get ready? Do you want to pitch in a spring training game? Do you want to pitch in the Freeway Series? Do you want to get some at-bats in the Freeway Series? Do you want to get a shot to play at Camelback Ranch before we pack it in and start heading back to Southern California? What do you want to do? Because all of these guys that we're talking about, whether it's Diaz, Yamamoto, Ohtani, obviously Will Smith is still with Team USA, but whatever they think they need to do to get ready, I'm sure the Dodgers will accommodate them accordingly, because these are not young guys. These are guys that know how to get themselves ready for the most important part of the season. So if they want to play, they'll play. If they don't, they won't. If they just want to your point, get some live, BP in a simulation, then they'll go do that as well. But knocking on wood right now, Harry, everybody's coming back in one piece, and that's the most important thing.
I mean, the elimination of these teams might end up being a blessing in disguise for the Dodgers, because, yes, they get them sooner before opening day. But at the same time, Travis, for guys like Yoshi and Sho, who had high expectations in this tournament for their squad, they're going to have a chip on their shoulder to be like, hey, man, we want to have a hot start. We want to be able to win another championship with the Dodgers after not being able to do it with Team Japan. And look, for Puerto Rico, they were one of the teams that got decked the hardest when it comes to insurance and losing players that weren't able to participate in likes of Carlos Correa and more. When you look over at Team South Korea, when they made it through the quarterfinals, they were happy about it, but then they got mercy ruled. So it's like, okay, now what? Okay, let's have Kim compete against for second base. We know Diaz is one of the best closers in the big leagues, and we're going to be talking about Will Smith very, very soon. But first, I want to throw that question out there for you. You at home, what was the bigger upset? Going one and done in the knockout stage for Team Samurai, or Team USA dropping that last pool game to Italy? Let me know in the comments on YouTube, or if you check us out on social media at Locked On Dodgers. Coming up on Locked On Dodgers, Team USA is heading back to the WBC championship game, but the way the semifinal ended has people furious. We're talking about a strike 3 call that wasn't even close, and Dodgers catcher Will Smith was right in the middle of it. Why this moment could end up forcing a major rule change in the next World Baseball Classic.
Today, I'm thrilled to be talking about our sponsor, MLB The Show 26. The greatest game in baseball is back with its newest installment. Baseball fans are going to have a hard time pulling themselves away from this one. The thing I absolutely love is the franchise mode, right? And not just the franchise mode, but the franchise mode getting to play as the Dodgers. Now, that's my favorite team. Maybe you're one of those guys that's at Locked On Dodgers and you have a different favorite team. That's fine. You can do that as well. It is an incredible way to just elevate your fandom to a whole nother level. And, of course, you can live out your dream of being your MLB player that you've always dreamed of in career mode. So if you're a gamer, a baseball fan, or you just want to enjoy America's favorite pastime in new and exciting ways, you're going to love MLB The Show 26. Play as your favorite team and franchise players and see if you have what it takes to win your own World Series. Visit MLBThe.show/lockedon and use the code LOCKEDON to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. Internet connection required. You can pre-order right now. Available March 17th on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, and Nintendo Switch. It is rated E for everyone.